this big field. Meanwhile, President Trump trails 5 major Democratic candidates in hypothetical matchups. Let's take a look. Biden leads Trump by 8 points. Bloomberg leads Trump by 7 points. Sanders and Buttigieg by 4 points. Senator Amy Klobuchar by 3 points. That's within the margin of error. When the race is narrowed to voters from 11 key battleground states, things get a little bit tighter. All of the margins shrink except for Joe Biden's. He maintains his 8-point lead in those states over Donald Trump. Mayor Bloomberg's lead decreases to 2 points. Sanders and Klobuchar's to 1, effectively tied, as is Mayor Buttigieg. So, Joe, this is the conundrum, it seems to me, for Democrats, which is that Joe Biden has not looked like a great candidate. He was viewed as the front runner. He's fading now. But when you look at the states that the Democratic Party has to win in November, he is still strong right now.
I'm going to say I'm surprised by those numbers. Donald Trump not doing badly in his approval rating, and yet if you look at those states, because the national polls, when you start talking about general elections, throw the national polls out the window. They don't matter at all. What matters are those swing states: Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida, Arizona. Those are the swing states that really matter. And the fact that Joe Biden is that far ahead of Donald Trump right now in those swing states, Willie, I mean, you're sitting there going, wait a second, it looks like the guy who has the cleanest shot, if you just look at the data, of beating Donald Trump, is about to get bumped out of this race. And for a party that claims it's obsessed with nothing more than beating Donald Trump, I mean, that's, again, those are 2 data points that seem to be in conflict with each other.
Yeah, and Mika, the Biden campaign will throw that poll we just showed up and put sirens around it, because that's their case right there. They're going to say, Iowa, New Hampshire were not our states, not representative. We finished poorly in both of those states, 4th and 5th. But you got to hang in there with us, because look how we do in the states that are going to matter to you in November. If you want to beat Donald Trump, the argument from the Biden campaign goes, you've got to ride with us. We'll get you 2nd place maybe in November. We'll win South Carolina, and we can recover from this. That remains to be seen, especially with Michael Bloomberg now in the race, taking away some of the support from Joe Biden.
Yeah, I wonder, Mika, it is Biden who said he was coming in case, or Bloomberg who said he was coming in case Biden collapsed. I wonder if we find ourselves in a position where now, while Biden underperformed greatly in the first 2 states, do you think that Bloomberg is actually precipitating Joe Biden's collapse and may actually be leading the way to a Bernie Sanders nomination, which, of course, is what Michael Bloomberg said he feared the most?
Well, and that's when the question is then what's his intention? I have to say that Michael Bloomberg brings to the forefront a set of questions where some could end up paralleling him to Trump in some ways. Those questions might be answered tonight a little bit. As we said, Michael Bloomberg is set to appear on the debate stage for the first time in Las Vegas tonight. 5 other candidates also made the cut: Biden, Buttigieg, Sanders, Klobuchar, and Warren. That's going to be who you see on stage tonight. Yesterday, Senator Warren went after Bloomberg, tweeting, quote, "It's a shame Mike Bloomberg can buy his way into the debate, but at least now primary voters curious about how each candidate will take on Donald Trump can get a live demonstration of how we each take on an egomaniac billionaire." Wow. Joining us now from Las Vegas, national political reporter for NBC News, Josh Letterman. Josh, set the scene for us. Tonight, Bloomberg, I think, makes his debut on the national stage going up against the other candidates.
Yeah, and it's really a first do no harm situation for Mike Bloomberg, Mika. Look, he's not known to be a great debater. He hasn't done this in many years since the last time that he ran for mayor of New York. And he's going to have to climb out of this mountain of controversial comments that have emerged over the past few weeks that his rivals have been pointing to, including new comments that came out just yesterday. The Human Rights Campaign now calling on Mike Bloomberg to apologize for saying as recently as last year, referring to to transgender women as he, she, or it. But the flip side here, Mika, is Mike Bloomberg doesn't really have to knock it out of the park, right? Like, he's not Amy Klobuchar in the way that he needs a stellar debate performance in order to propel him forward and get a whole bunch of free media. He can buy all the airtime that he wants, and he has. And so if Mike Bloomberg can emerge relatively unscathed this evening, that's a win for Mike Bloomberg as far as his campaign is concerned.
Hey, Josh, it's Willie. You talk to people around the Bloomberg campaign, and they're sort of setting expectations low just for performance tonight, saying, you know what, he hasn't done this since 2009 when he debated Bill Thompson when he was going for his third term as mayor. How would they view a good night here? I mean, because as you mentioned, everybody's going to be coming at him. It's going to be Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren from one side. Joe Biden obviously is threatened by Mayor Bloomberg, who's taking a lot of his support. How is he going to approach this night?
Well, the Bloomberg campaign will consider it a good night tonight if people watching the debate walk away from it thinking that there are three people who could be the next president: Bernie Sanders, Mike Bloomberg, and Donald Trump. And they think if they can get rid of the rest of the noise and sharpen the contours of the race like that, that they're able to make an effective argument to Democrats that, look, of these two Democratic candidates, Mike Bloomberg and Bernie Sanders, which do you really think has the best chance of defeating Donald Trump? And they think that's a contest they can win.
All right, NBC's Josh Lederman, thank you. And Joe, before we go to the next poll, I just have a question about Bloomberg as it pertains to paralleling him to Hillary Clinton. And here's the situation. If you look at who can go against Trump, Biden wins, right? He's at the top of the polls.
Easily.
Biden provides a contrast.
Right.
Bloomberg, one could argue, is just like Hillary Clinton, where in some key areas, women, big money, entitlement to this whole thing, they cancel each other out. I'm just saying, are we setting ourselves up for the same problem?
Well, you said throughout 2015 and 2016 that Hillary Clinton was the worst opponent for Donald Trump.
The worst.
Because she did not provide adequate contrast on some of Donald Trump's weaknesses. And, of course, we saw that at the end of the campaign in the most dramatic form when there was a question asked about honest and trustworthiness. I think Donald Trump was like at 36%. Only 36% of Americans found him to be honest and trustworthy. Well, for Hillary Clinton, that number was at 35%. For whatever reason, whenever the topic of women came up, Donald Trump attacked Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton at the same time, her for enabling his bad behavior. Whether that was fair or not, it stuck. It was Bill Clinton who saw his approval ratings slide precipitously during that campaign under the withering attacks of Donald Trump. So you could make the same argument about Mike Bloomberg this year as well. So, again, tonight is really an important night for Mayor Bloomberg, and it's important because we've got to see how he swats away these answers. Nothing that was thrown at Donald Trump stuck to him. He always knew he knew what was coming. Right. He knew how to swat it away and pivot and attack somebody else. We'll see what happens with Bloomberg tonight.
Going to need to see a contrast.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.